here's what I would do. Like you were talking about coming in here and selecting something, or like doing a color pick and trying to like guess and see like where it is and the values and all this stuff, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you were at. Okay. So this is how I learned how to paint traditionally. All right.
Okay.
This is a digital version of a palette that was designed by a painter at the Art Students League, New York City, back in like the 30s, 40s, maybe it was the 50s. I think it was 50s. Named Frank Riley. It's a controlled palette. This technique is the same technique that James Gurney uses and to paint. He pre-mixes his colors. So, like, if this was a traditional palette, you'd have your values of red, your values of yellow-red, your values of yellow, and you have values of gray tone that control the chroma of any one of these colors. Okay, so you control the chromatic intensity with gray.
Mm-hmm.
I transferred this knowledge over to the computer doing this. So, like for example, if I want...
That's the noise I always make when I click something wrong like that.
Oh, right. If I want this yellow, but I don't want it to be that intense, it's this value gray as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come in here, and just depending on the amount of pressure I apply, I can gradate out.
So you work on top of that value?
Yes, like I have the value 6 gray and the value 6 yellow toggling. So I have Photoshop set up to blend my colors depending on pressure sensitivity.
Okay.
All right, I don't know if you do that or how many people do that, but that's how I work.
That's very... No, I never even thought of that.
Yeah, me
Right.
neither.
All right, so going back to what you were saying about, you know, going in here and doing all this guesswork, I don't do any of that. Because,
yeah, you know, I think that I'm banking very much on... I think mine is a lot harder to replicate probably because I'm improvising a lot. I know that a lot of people have a much easier time by doing that, by like going and putting your palette out there.
Right.
Pre-mixing colors. That's probably a lot easier. That's just the way that I do it. And
yeah, I understand. No, so let me finish. So let me show you this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I try to figure out what color is I'm going to drop I'm going to desaturate the entire image.
Okay.
All right. I want to know what the value is. So let's get rid of that. I want to know what the value is. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select, let's say, the top of his nose here. Right? And I'm going to go into, let's try that again. I'm going to go into the color picker. That's around value 5 for
Okay.
me. All right, that's about 50% gray. So on my color picker, that's around about here. Okay?
Yeah.
So the equivalent brown would be here. So let's just try that. I'm going to take that and hit OK. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to make a little mark. Whoops. Make a little mark here. And then I'm going to turn off the desaturation, and I've got my color.
That is...
There's no guesswork at that point. It's
right.
math. You come in here, you select, you know, I can come in here, I can select this. All right? I find out, okay, so that's between value 4 and 5, about 4 and 3. So that's on my chart. That's 4, 3, right here.
Okay.
All right. It's 35%. So it's going up toward 40%, which is the 4.
Okay.
So think of it like 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. All right?
Percentages of black.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select this color, brown, but
Now,
I'm
where
also...
do you get that family of brown from?
I just took a gradation. All right, so let's say...
Like, how did you arrive at that hue?
Right, okay. So I'll show you. What I think I did, because I made this chart years ago, because this is the only way I could understand how to paint digitally, was to take what I knew how to do in oils and then transition it. So I think what I did was I grabbed... Oh, and I have it for the entire color wheel, so it doesn't necessarily have to be flesh tones. It can be yellow, red, purple. It can be anything. So I think I probably took this swatch, this gray tone swatch, off of one of those color calibration sites.
Right.
And then took... All right, so I'd say that's value 8. And I think I did something where I just like played with it until I got the saturation or whatever that I wanted, and then I just kept playing with the values until I got an even match.
Yeah, so I mean, it does still require a fair amount of intuition.
Yeah, but once I did that, it was done.
Right. Okay.
So, like, that's how you know my colors are accurate. When I desaturate it, the color version is the exact same as the gray tone.
Right.
That's what I was going for. So once I had that, I knew I was correct.
I see the leftmost one it looks like it's a little bit darker.
Yeah, because I'll show you. For different types of skin, well, let me turn it off. These. For different types of skin, you're going to have your warm areas and your cool areas based on the temperature zone of the face. So that's where that comes in. It's just this layer of blue that I just put over.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So for this guy's face, he's got this 5 o'clock shadow thing going on. That's between value 3 and 4. So I'll probably take this color and that color. Whoops. That color and that color. Come in here. Based on pressure sensitivity.
Right, which I never thought to do that.
So there you go. All right? So, I mean, that way there's no guesswork. I mean, if I wanted to make this guy's face purple, I could do that.
Right.
That's value 5 gray, about 49%, so it's about value 5. So I come in here, and I say, okay, value 5. And I can just literally come in here and just paint this guy's face however I want it to be. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I can make it...
This is so cool.
At that point, I can make his face whatever color I want because it's all based on numbers.
Do you know if Mike does a similar thing?
Mm-hmm.
He does?
Oh, I don't know if he does or not. No, I think Mike's like color picking. He's
okay.
But like when I start an illustration, I'll literally spend maybe 20 minutes just going through my gray tone sketch or my photos, and I'll desaturate the entire thing, and I'll go through and go, okay, that's value 3, and I'll literally just sit there and make notes on the drawing.
That's really interesting.
3,
like you make those little checkpoints.
4,
Yeah.
8, 9.
Yeah, I've seen this done before. I never put it together like that.
I do that with acrylic paintings a lot when I'm blocking them in.
Yeah, this is, let's say that's 2. That's 1/2. His nostril, that's 1. You know, this
Yeah.
is 3. And I'm just guessing, but let me see if I'm accurate. I mean, that's probably 2 or 3.
So is this palette? Is this something you created yourself?
Yeah, I created that myself. It's not something I like. I don't think to share this stuff because I don't. I just assume people know it. But
No. Never assume.
huh?
Never assume.
Yeah, I think everybody should have that value scale. I have one in Painter. I just have some swatches that have a 9-step value scale, and it comes in handy, especially when you're trying to teach somebody. You know, you're trying to say, okay, fill this particular area with a certain color, rather than say fill it with a dark gray. You can say fill it with a 7 value.
Right.
Right. So like, I just sampled this little sliver of hair.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote value 3, and I just went in to check, and that's like 35%. So that's between value 3 and 4. So I was pretty close.
Yeah.
And so, like the value of the highlight on his nose, I said that was value 8. So I was off by 1 value. So that's 9. That's value 9 instead of value 8. Because value 8 would be this.